A nightmare day on Sydney's roads. A cyclist strapped by a bus on the North Shore.
The school bus was turning the corner at the intersection of Military Road and Ben Boyd Road when it struck the cyclist. A number of people ran to help the victim. They tried to pull him out, but they couldn't. They said he was not responding.
Wow.
Yeah, absolute tragedy. We spoke about cyclists being knocked over a couple of weekends ago as well. It seems to be something now, boys, that we're hearing a lot more of, and absolutely horrible scenes in Neutral Bay where the man was hit and died at the scene. Everyone came out of homes, came out of businesses to try to help, but unfortunately they just couldn't revive him. And boys, at the moment, there's just so much talk about cyclists being on the roads and whether they have the rights to be on the roads or not. And
always a lot of debate, isn't there, Gus? When something like this comes up, it just rears its head again, and there's a lot more passion involved with it. Myself and my wife, a couple of times a week or so, let's go for a ride. And we, Pittwater Road. And
very busy with a bus lane.
Yep, but let me tell you, we don't ride on Pittwater Road. I'm on the footpath.
Yeah.
And if I get fined for that, well, so be it. But there's no way in the world I'm riding on the road.
You feel so much more safer.
There is some roads in Sydney that you just, as a bike rider, you shouldn't go near.
Well, this was 4 p.m. in the afternoon, so it was peak hour, and I was on Neutral Bay, so on Military Road in Neutral Bay, which is a very busy road, MG.
But when you're on the motorways, on the M4 of a morning, we're on there at 4 in the morning, and all of a sudden you see a little light flapping.
And before you know, you're past them.
And all it takes is the truck to go over that little line, and they're gone.
Yep, absolutely. Let's speak now, gentlemen, to a gentleman by the name of Edward Hore, cycle.org.au. Good morning, Edward.
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Hello, Ed.
Very well. No doubt you're a keen cyclist, mate, and you'd be shattered with this news and trying now to come up with some way of making sure that it doesn't happen again.
Look, this is unanswerable at the moment. We don't know what's happened. We don't fully understand. We've had people come forward and tell us what they think they saw.
Yeah.
And even the eyewitness accounts that has come to us via our Facebook and website at the moment have been contradicting each other, as they always do. And that's what happens. We know that people get emotional. They actually get information wrong, and they can't remember exactly what happened because they get nervous and everything just rushes through their head. But unfortunately, we have to wait for the police to do their investigation and actually twiddle our thumbs until we get a result from that.
Yeah.
Edward, can you tell us exactly what the rule is in Brisbane at the moment regarding riding on the roads with bikes and cars?
Yeah, sure, guys. It's really easy. They've got a meter up there at the moment for a trial for 2 years. We're pretty sure they'll come in, hopefully, for permanently. Metre has to be left for cyclists when they're travelling in areas 60 kilometres or lower. After 60 kilometres speed zones, they have to give 1.5 metres to the cyclists. We're already seeing great results up there. I've got a bunch of guys on the ground in Brisbane, and they're noticing that cars are giving more room. It's actually a lifesaver, guys. It's a game changer.
Geez, I tell you, that is really difficult on some roads here in Sydney, Edward. I mean, Military Road is a case in point. I mean, you got parked cars there, and there is just so much traffic. I just can't imagine having 1 metre space.
Look, I don't understand the situation that's just occurred, but there are thousands of cyclists that use Military Road every week, and there's not thousands of accidents, so people can do it. They can actually safely overtake cyclists. There's not this situation where people go, it's impossible to do it on this road, can't be done on that road. It's already happening thousands of times a day, guys. So it just needs people to be more aware and to actually look for cyclists.
It has to get into our mindset, doesn't it?
But this is a shocking thing that's happened overnight. When somebody passes away due to an accident, it's never nice. Every time we have we bring up cycling on roads, we have umpteenth calls who say, and tell me how you feel about this. They say, well, you know what? Cyclists think they're above the law because they're not registered or insured, but they have half the road most of the time. What's your comeback to comments like that?
Look, the rego debate's something that's going to rage on forever. It's not going to happen. Every government in the world has rejected registration for the purposes of identification. The only reasons they have registration in a couple of countries is to do with third-party insurance in Switzerland, I think it is, and for theft of bikes. So rego is a non-issue, guys. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Yep.
But if we want to talk about bikes being on the roads, you've got to understand it's about getting from point A to point B. Most of these guys that you hear have crashes, etc., are actually commuting. They're on the road because they have to be. They're not on the road because they're going out for a joyride.
Right.
They're not on the road because they're getting ready for an event, and believe me, a lot of cyclists give a lot of money and a lot of effort to raising charity money for the kids' care, for cancer, research, etc. So there are times when cyclists will get out there and actually have a hit, go for a bit of a ride, but in these situations, it's more about the riders getting from A to B. There's a university person that was hit recently. You've got people going to work. In Brisbane, we had a shift worker riding a road at 4 o'clock in the morning, a busy road. This is how they get to work, guys. It is their mode of transport. Unfortunately, not everyone has got a car or wants to drive a car. I commute wherever I go by bike, even though I've got 2 cars at the house.
Well, good on you. Look, we appreciate it very much. That's Edward Hore from cycle.org.au.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
A horrible story and excellent question, MG, and one that can just go on and on and on trying to debate that, whether or not people, don't mind cyclists, and the cyclists, you get round them and you get to a set of lights and they'll come right up the left-hand side and get to the front again.
I know.
That infuriates people.
There's
but
good
it's
cyclists
only,
and bad cyclists.
There's only a certain part of cycle. The other ones are doing exactly what they're meant to do.
You just said this morning.
They have a part of the road.
How do you get to work here in the mornings?
How do I get?
Yeah.
I drive my car.
Well, you come this morning with a helicopter. You asked, why can't people just come by helicopter?
Well, that's a very good point. I mean, there should be more choppers in the skies. It'll make all this sort of stuff much easier.
The Triple M Grill Team.